Good morning, everybody. I'm just, wanting to talk tonight and this morning about the GOP nomination process that's going on and my views on it. I know that in today's day and age, politics basically runs the lives of everybody, even if they are not willing to admit it. So, let me go. First, I'd like to put a disclaimer out there. I want to preface this by saying that I am an avid Ron Paul supporter, but until I get to the opinion part, I will not let that affect my analysis of the entire situation. Okay, so moving on. It really, Iowa and New Hampshire, I know they get a lot of political talk, they get a lot of money, they get a lot of political money, they get a lot of political attention, especially the year before the primaries are supposed to start, the nomination process. Because, one of the big the big misconceptions are that, New Hampshire and Iowa can make, break, or revive a candidate. But I absolutely disagree. Hang on. I disagree when it comes to GOP politics. Now, Democratic politics, absolutely, because according to my research, since 1980, there have been 5 instances where a GOP candidate, the GOP has needed to nominate a new candidate, and only 2 out of those 5 times did New Hampshire, which gets more attention than Iowa, contrary to popular belief. New Hampshire actually only chose the eventual nominee, so they're not very accurate when it comes to GOP. But when it comes to Democrats, I believe they've had to pick a nominee 6 times since 1980, and only once did they fail to choose the eventual nominee. So, and that's actually understandable, because 4 out of the last 5 presidential elections, with year 2000 being the exception, New Hampshire has actually been a Democratic state with pretty solid margins, very solid margins. So I don't really consider Iowa and New Hampshire as much of a jewel as I do South Carolina. And the reason why is because, especially with the GOP, I should be clear on this with the GOP. The GOP, the Republican Party, is the party in the South. I mean, plain and simply, anybody who's been watching the politics of the Republican Party, or any sort of presidential race for at least 16 years now, knows that the South is the GOP party. They are GOP land. So, South Carolina, to me, was a jewel. It was the biggest indicator of who is going to win the Republican nomination. And I'm not going to lie to you, I really thought it was going to be Romney. I really did. As much as I don't want it to be, I really thought it was going to be Romney. But Newt Gingrich actually pulled out, I believe, with 42% of the vote. And if I remember right, South Carolina is a winner-take-all primary state. So that means he got all 17 or 18 of their electorates, which actually propels him ahead, theoretically, of Mitt Romney. I could be wrong on this, don't take my word, but that is just what I'm remembering at 3:01 in the morning, which I should need to be in bed. So right now, as it stands, Florida is going to have their primary very soon. Forgive me for not knowing the exact date. I believe it could be Saturday, but I could be wrong on that, please. Florida will be another test. Florida is a very independent state. I believe you can probably attest. You can probably go, just look at just a sample of recent, elections there, and I mean, here I've got it right in front of me. Florida, since 1980, yes, since 1980, has split, has gone Republican six out of 10 times, or eight, excuse me, 6 out of 8 times, but they have gone Democratic 2 out of the last 4 elections, with 2008 them voting for Barack Obama. So they're a pretty independent state, which brings me to believe that Ron Paul might actually get quite a bit more votes than what he did in South Carolina, which, I mean, he placed 4th, but that's out of 4 candidates. And I mean, he got 17 or 18% of the vote, which is, I mean, is very respectable in a highly Republican state such as South Carolina. But Florida will be a big test. Again, this is my Ron Paul bias coming out. I want him to win. I hope he takes Florida. Do I think it'll happen? No, I don't. Do I think he could get second? Yeah, I do. I know the polls. Don't give me the polls, okay? Whatever. The polls stated that Romney should have won by, should have won 52% of the vote in New Hampshire. Everybody knows how that happened. So, moving on, if the winner of Florida is Newt Gingrich, which I expect it to be. I don't want it to be, but I expect it to be. If the winner is Newt Gingrich, I believe Newt Gingrich will be it will be Newt Gingrich versus Barack Obama in November. Although, at the same time, I do believe it'll come down to Super Tuesday, which, of course, everybody knows that's where there's like 20 different primaries and caucuses going on one night, and that is the make or break night, unless there's like a split right down the middle, which is very rare. I think that a good example would be the 2008 Democratic primary, the nomination process, where Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, I mean, basically went down to the wire. Okay. That's my analysis. Sorry, it's not fully detailed. It's 3:05 a.m., so here is my opinion. Everybody says that Ron Paul is a lunatic. They say his foreign policy is unfounded. And you know what? Really, that's all people have on him is his foreign policy. Or ask him about his domestic policy. And I mean, it's highly incredible. I mean, they all think he's right, but on the foreign policy, let's spend time on that. The foreign policy, he believes in non-interventionism. I know everybody calls it isolationism, but no, it's really not. His main credo is that we follow the golden rule: do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And he takes that not only on a personal level, but on a governmental level. Why is it that we should go in and do nation building and bomb other countries just because they're trying to, make a life for themselves? Give me this whole Iran thing. I don't want them to have nukes either. But Israel is a big girl. She can take care of herself. You don't have to give money or military aid to Israel to be in support of her. I support her. I pray I pray for her quite often. Not as much as I should. I'll admit that, but I do. you know, but really, for all you crazy people, I shouldn't say crazy, for all you people out there who feel that because Ron Paul wants to cut off, military and financial aid to her, that is somehow violating your Christian principles. Let me put it to you like this. I'm a Christian myself. Let me put it to you like this. When we give them money, we tell them what to do. How biblical is that? We are telling Israel what to do. In fact, a little known fact, Katrina, the day after, back in 2005, when George Bush actually had Ariel Sharon, I believe it was Ariel Sharon, I'm not sure, the Israeli Prime Minister sign over the Gaza settlements. The day after that happened, Katrina actually formed as a tropical depression. Very little known fact. So we are not supposed to tell Israel what to do, plain and simple. Excuse me. So, as far as debating abilities, Newt Gingrich, awesome debater. I'm actually highly impressed by him. I like to hear him speak. I think that, he's very witty, he's very intelligent, but he's just not the guy. He can't do it. Ron Paul pulls in the young people. He pulls in the independents. He even pulls in Democratic voters. Okay, this is exactly what we need. This is the candidate that we need to defeat Obama. And I can't understand why nobody wants to see it like that. They look at his foreign policy, one thing, and they automatically discount him. One thing. What about everything else? I look at George Bush. For 8 years, he had this foreign policy. Every conservative loved, every liberal hated. But let me ask you a question. Besides his foreign policy, what good of a president was he? And then I'm just going to leave it at that. Tell you all to have a good night and get some sleep. Because obviously, I'm not.